9. You guys ready for this? Start the music. Start the music. Just kidding, guys. Okay. We're here to help you become recession proof. Go ahead and share it too. And have Pam share it on my timeline as well. Recession proof, everybody. It's so important that you're recession proof. If you don't know how to do creative deals like the lease option, you're going to suffer during the next correction. You might not. I hope you don't. I really hope you don't. But if you know how to put these deals together, we've done many of these deals. If you know how to put these deals together, you can make a lot of cash flow. You can make a lot of money. You can wholesale these deals. You can lock in some equity. There's a lot of things you can do. And I'm going to record this on my computer. Here we go. Cool. Now, I can't see your comments. Just so you know, I cannot see your comments. Jeriel can see your comments. He's someone that works with us. Isaac can see your comments. I cannot see him. So if you have questions, I'm going to hear them from Isaac, who's sitting right next to me. He's going to ask me. We have a Q&A at the very end of this. If you don't understand some of the intricacies of this deal, these can be quite difficult to understand at first. Don't worry. It took me a little bit to understand these deals, and I'm going to help you understand them. I want you to understand them. This is a training, right? And at the very end, there will be a live Q&A where you can ask these questions, and I'll answer them. Okay? We don't have a ton of time. I want to make this really quick and succinct. Here we go. Stay tuned at the very end. I got a script for you that'll close anybody. You're probably wondering, what do I tell a seller? I got that for you. All right, make sure you hang around. I'm gonna show you where that's at. Before I begin, guys, this is so important that you know this. These strategies, they worked for me, they worked for us. We've done many of these deals, approximately 15. They're difficult deals to put together, okay? Consult your attorney. These types of deals may be illegal. I might have spelled illegal incorrectly as well. They may be illegal or complicated in your state or county, okay? These deals can be litigious in Texas if you're not doing them correctly. There's some other states out there that really frown upon these types of deals. But with the right attorney and the right title company, you can get it done, okay? I am not liable for your actions, okay? If you go out today and decide you're gonna, market for these types of deals and you get a deal under contract and you don't do it right or use the wrong paperwork or you lack paperwork, it's not my fault. Just letting you know that now. I'm not responsible for your success either. I'm responsible to inspire and give you the necessary tools. I want you to be extremely excited about this amazing tool to make a ton of money without using any of your own money, right? And without paying cash for homes, because if you haven't noticed by now, a lot of buyers are getting a little cold feet. We're seeing something interesting in the market. I don't think it's going to be a huge correction. I really do think we have a lot of room to grow. I really do think so. So carrying on. What's a lease option? And as you get questions come in, let me know. We got some questions yet or not yet?
Yeah.
Cool. How many viewers we got?
20.
Excellent. Okay. What's a lease option, guys? A lease option is an agreement to lease with the option to purchase later. All right. It's a lease that allows you to sublease or assign the lease and purchase agreements. So there's two different agreements. You need to know that there are two separate agreements. You're going to have a lease agreement with the seller, and you're going to have an option to purchase or just a purchase agreement with the seller. There is really no option to purchase agreement. In fact, in our state, we just use a regular purchase agreement. It is a strategy to control real estate without owning the real estate. It's a strategy that may allow you to cash flow or sell a deal. It's a strategy that allows you to be a tenant buyer, okay? We'll talk about what that means. It's a strategy that allows you to lock up the seller's equity and ride it to appreciation. That's one of my favorite parts. You lock it in now, you know we're gonna appreciate later. It's gonna be a beautiful deal. It's low to no risk, and it's low to none of your own money. I'd like to say no risk, but anytime you invest 5 minutes in something, I think you're risking your time because your time is the most valuable asset you have. Honestly, virtually, it's really no risk because it's contractual control of real estate. It's beautiful. It's one of my favorite strategies. Okay. Why would you do this type of deal? Well, seller has low to no equity but needs to sell. And how often does the seller have low to no equity, right? Seller is tired of the tenants that he currently has. Excuse me. Seller needs to sell but wants to avoid capital gains tax penalty for now. Maybe the seller's not prepared to pay the capital gains tax. Maybe the seller's only owned the home for a couple of years. Maybe the seller's never had the home owner occupied. Therefore, he can't avoid capital gains tax. And again, check with your local CPA in your county and your state. Seller needs to improve or update the home, but doesn't have the funds. It's a really popular one, especially right now. Seller wants full price and has told all the wholesalers no. Can you raise your hand if you've offered full price for a property? Or excuse me, if you've offered cash for a property and the seller says no? Have you had that? Well, we've been there. We make so many offers a day. In fact, I need to show my screenshot. You see in this group, a little bit lower, last Friday, we made a total of almost 50 offers that day. Was it that day? So just that day alone, we made about 50 offers. I guarantee you a lot of no's were in there. But there was a lot of maybes or perhaps or yes or let's talk about it if we offered more on seller finance or lease option. Seller wants retail no matter what. Okay, many sellers out there, they just want retail. Why wouldn't? Well, that's a really great place to be, right? Don't we all want retail? Seller's property has a reasonable price point and is located in a good area. So we'll talk about good areas too, like great school districts, near shopping malls, near great parks, near attractions, right? These are good areas. Seller is motivated to sell creatively, but due to a loan or external circumstances, he cannot change the name on the deed. So our first go-to, by the way, and we'll have another training on this, our go-to is actually seller finance. We would like to control the property, but also take the deed. It's real exciting when you can do real estate with little to nothing out of your pocket and actually take the deed. In this case, you're not going to take the deed. This is a lease option. This is a lease. You are a tenant. Okay. Why else? There's many other reasons why, and I didn't list them all here, why you would do a lease option rather than a seller finance deal. But bottom line, for some reason, the seller wants to remain the deed holder, maybe avoid taxes, wants to write off the taxes, pardon me. It's just probably not in the place to. Maybe the spouse doesn't agree to it. Maybe the seller doesn't trust you. There's a lot of reasons why. And we'll talk about that too. Why not do a wrap or subject to deal? So let's talk about what a wrap is. A wrap is when you create new financing around an existing loan. So let me give you an example of that. I got Jenny who has a house. She owes $100,000 on it. She'd be willing to sell it to me for $105,000 in 3 years. Her current payment is $800. She would sell it to me on payments of $850 a month over 3 years. So we wrap new financing around the existing financing. That way the seller's making some sort of spread. Okay. What's a subject to deal? A subject to is another way of saying take over payments. So it's a real simple way of just, I'm going to take over the payments that you have with your current mortgage company. Here's why you wouldn't do a wrap or subject to and why you need to do a lease option. Maybe they have a FHA loan or another type of loan that prohibits these types of transactions. Okay, maybe they can't do these types of transactions according to their loan. Many loans, almost all loans, have a due on sell clause. Many banks don't. I'd say the majority don't exercise the due on sell clause. There are many, and due on sell clause means once they switch the deed to you or the new buyer, the bank sees that, it triggers that, and they immediately ask for all the loan money paid to be paid in full. Most all loans have that. Banks don't collect on it because they like the interest income that they're making. Okay. Because they prefer to remain the owner, that's just another reason. Sometimes they just do. They just want to be the owner. Because they want the tax write-off benefit. We talked about that. As an owner, you definitely do have tax write-off benefits. You could also do that with a lease option. If you set it up correctly, that's a whole new video you need to use an LLC. And there's different business operations that need to happen in there for write-offs. because they don't know or trust you, which I talked about. Many people don't know or trust you, therefore they'd rather just lease a house to you rather than just hand over their house. They might not be in such dire straits, and there's a lot of other reasons why. Okay, too many to count, but for sake of time, that's probably the gist of why you wouldn't do a wrap or subject to. We're going to talk about the Elmwood property. This is a really good story. My business partner Isaac actually took this one on himself. This house, we had the seller actually contact us through one of our mail pieces. Yes, mail, wasn't a cold call. And the seller said, yeah, well, let's go to the next slide. We'll just explain it. So the seller was out of the state in Minnesota. Seller owed $233K, ARV's $315. We tried to wholesale. Okay, so let me go backwards. I don't want you to see everything yet. I should have broken that up. But the seller owes $233, ARV's $315, but the house needs like $40,000 work. Okay, not like a smooth wholesale deal. It could have definitely worked. We thought we were going to sell it, but for some reason it just couldn't sell. We tried to wholesale it for $245 at first, then we lowered it to $243, then $240. We actually had a couple appointments and some bites. Offers were lower than what our contract price would be, which is exactly what the seller owed, which is $233. So we tried to wholesale this deal, and that's a really big piece of info for you, because many times we try to disposition properties that just can't be dispositioned. Maybe my buyer's list was weak. Maybe I didn't market it correctly. There's a lot of reasons why, but it just wouldn't sell. It's a corner lot. It's a beautiful home. It's 4-bedroom, 3-bath in Mesa. If you're familiar with Mesa, it's near Mountain View High School. Seemingly a good deal. But for some reason, it just wouldn't sell. So probably needed too much work, too skinny of a deal. ARV was $315. We tried to wholesale for $240. Poured through the pool and a fire pit. Tenants were great people. Seller just needed to sell within the next 2 years. So the situation was the sellers need to sell this thing now or within the next 2 years. They wanted to reinvest actually not reinvest. They wanted to get off their credit so that they can qualify to buy another property in Minnesota. The seller knew it needed all updates. Okay. And that's something that I harped on when I saw the property. And it was in really good shape. A great school district, corner lot, family area. Payment or lease was only $1,000 a month. Now that's on an interest-only loan. It's a scary loan, right? But shoot, for cash flow, that's fantastic. The rent there in the area is $1,500 plus. It might be a little bit higher now, but $1,500. It was nothing out of our pocket to get in the deal. We paid nothing. There was no deposit. There was no down payment. There was nothing. It's very rare. Typically, we would pay some sort of deposit, but we literally had the tenants move out, and we showed up and started paying the lease. Isaac took this one on as a personal project. He put $7,000 into the house, and him and actually his father helped out a little bit, and some other people that he knew, some contractors, painted it. I mean, I was there. I saw some of the project, painted it, added some light fixtures, very minimal work, really. Just a deep clean, good paint, some carpet, minimal work. We took it over and we decided to turn it into an Airbnb, which was a great deal because we took this thing on back last November or last October, and we made over $60,000 and we only had it for 6 months. Now, if you're familiar with Airbnb, you're able to make buku bucks by leasing the property per night. It's in an area where there's no HOA. It complies with the city statutes and the county statutes on leasing. So it was totally fine. And we made a killing. It was a really good deal for us. And we sold the deal on bigger pockets. We sold the deal, not the house. We sold the lease. We assigned it for $20,000 to an out-of-state buyer named Robert, who's actually one of our clients, our virtual assistant clients. So now we're out of the deal. We're no longer in the deal. We invested, a good amount into it, but we made a lot more than what we would have made, just normal. Now, my exit was not really a lease. It was more of an Airbnb, but the entrance was a lease option. So it's a lease with purchase. The exit could have been, I found a family to lease the house. I could have just sold it as is for a fee, but no, we decided to hold it in an Airbnb portfolio, and it did really well. It doesn't work with every property. Don't expect it to. Here in Arizona, it's heavy season right now, so we're starting to get a lot of people coming down and booking. So where can you find these deals? You're probably thinking, where the heck do I find them? Well, you find them in the same places you find your wholesale deals. You find them online, you find them from wholesalers, other wholesalers, you find them from realtors, from meetups, from social media. These deals are made, they're not found. Guys, I can't stress how important it is to remember that line. These types of deals are not found, they are made. You put these deals together. You can turn dead, no equity leads, which we do all the time, and we turn them into lease option deals or seller finance deals. We ask realtors if they'll take a commission if we can work directly with the seller. We target the right list, and this is huge, guys. We target the right list of absentee owners and pitch the right message, okay? By the way, you probably already have data. If you do, great. If you don't, we have data. We can help you out. I want to talk about hitting the right list. If you got a cold caller or an auto dialer, or if you use Mojo or whatever, this should be part of your repertoire. This should be part of your script, in understanding what exactly your seller's willing to do. We'll talk about that later when we go to the scripts, but you can leverage a virtual team to make offers. By the way, next week we're releasing our virtual assistant offer wizard, where you can make these types of offers without even knowing how to make these offers. For example, if you've never made a lease option offer in your life, we'll show you that our team does it for you. Our virtual assistant staff makes offers for you. So it's a killer deal. If you're brand new, this works. If you're a veteran, it works. And walk a seller through the deal. Throughout the deal. I did not spell that right. Steps to fast results. Guys, you need to get very accurate data. Okay, this is the steps to fast results. I'm going to give you the steps to slow results. I'm going to give you the steps to fast results. Okay, you need to get very accurate data. You can use yours. You can use ours. We use CoreLogic and TransUnion. It's fantastic data. You need to set up your virtual assistant or in-house dialers, your RVMs. If you're using ringless voicemails, they're fantastic. They work really well. We highly recommend it. We don't do cold calling for you. We do cold calling for our internal operations, but we have virtual assistants that help draft contracts and manage offer operations. 3, use the Offer Wizard tool to make cash and creative offers. All right, and that's coming next week. I'm really excited to showcase it. I'm super pumped to show you how it works. Oh my gosh, please invite your friends and family to be on that stream. It's going to change your real estate business. And I'm talking like you can make over 100 offers a day if you really wanted to. I mean, it's an auto offer software. Okay, how can I get started on my own? Well, get yourself a virtual team. You know, if you want to go to Upwork, go to Upwork. You know, go somewhere where someone can make offers quickly for you. Or you could sit behind a computer and you can do these offers yourself. In fact, if you're just starting out, you might want to just make offers yourself. Visit Craigslist.org, Zillow.com, and other sites where landlords are hanging out. That's going to be huge. You need to be where the landlords are. Okay? Your pitch for a lease option or rent to own is going to hit home to the landlord more than any other type of seller. This is an absentee owner landlord dream come true. And I'm going to share with you exactly why it's a dream come true. Leverage our team or yours to make offers on property rent to own, 20 offers a day. So hang out in the 20 offer a day range. You're going to be just fine. You're going to make a lot of deals happen. What will happen is you start to learn how your offers really should be, because your first offers are going to be terrible. That's okay. When you start, you have no idea what you're doing. Just start. And then from there, you're going to jump into the group. You're going to ask us, hey, I just made this offer. What do I do now? They accepted. I need paperwork. We'll cover that. If you need data, okay, subtle reminder, go to buymoretime.com/data. You can either build a list yourself or we can build you a list. Either way, build a list yourself or build me a list. That's if you need data. If you need virtual assistants, go to buymoretime.com/get-started. Let's get started. Click the call now. And you'll actually set up a call with me or with one of our team members where we'll talk with you and we'll strategize to see if it's a right fit and if you are truly ready for a virtual team. Okay. All right, let's talk about the offer. This is the most exciting part of the whole presentation, is the actual offer. This is the seller script, guys. How many got online right now?
We have 25.
Dang, perfect. Love it. All right, guys. This is the winning solution. This is the winning script that's helped us close many deals and set up awesome opportunities, whether they're seller finance or lease options. We've done many of these. This is how we go through the script. So you're going to ask the seller, what's your bottom number or your bottom price? This is after you got your list. This is after you've said, hello, I'm interested in your property. Perhaps you're at the property or you're over the phone, preferably over the phone. The seller's going to give you a number, hopefully, 150K. Maybe you've already talked to them about their price that they had before. It was already at 175,000, or excuse me, 162. And you said, what's your bottom number? Like, if I was to close now, what's your bottom number? You always want to set the anchor, okay? So you're going to say, that price would break me. I wouldn't be in business buying at that price, okay? Is that the best you can do? All right, so you showed some, and if you ever read Never Split the Difference, that book, you need to show some agony, you need to show some pain, but you also need to shut up. That's uncomfortable, huh? That's really uncomfortable when you watch me just stop talking. That is what I want it to feel like when you talk to the seller, okay? That has been one of the greatest tips in negotiating, is shutting up, okay? You built rapport, you talked to the seller, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. That price would break me. I wouldn't be in business buying it at that price. Is that the best you can do? Don't say anything. Yeah, sorry, that's the best I can do. Most of the time, I'm just going to be real in the script. I'm not going to sell you a dream script. This is reality script. You're going to say, okay, I really need to be at 96,000. Now that's your bottom number. That's the number, that would be a dream number, but that's really not realistic because it's way far away from what he said. And you know, that's a really low number. So you really need to be at 96,000 for this to make sense. Can you meet me somewhere in my range if I closed quickly, paid all closing costs, and without an inspection period? Now, notice how I didn't say, can you meet me in the middle? Okay, don't give so much away. You don't need to. You're the authoritarian, okay? You're the authority. Making up words I don't even know. You're the authority in this business. You're the one making offers. You're the one that knows your price. So if you set the price because you know your numbers and you're a professional, make him come to you. Doesn't mean he's going to get there, but that's where you want his head. Seller says, I could probably go down to 145. Okay, but honestly, it won't work if you can't do that. Okay, so now the seller probably, you've already asked for 2 reductions in a negotiation, right? You've been back and forth. Guys, you just earned $17,000. My math could be off. I'm pretty sure that's 17,000 though. Look, he started off from 162 and you got him down to 145. You just earned 17K. That's fantastic. And you didn't even, I mean, you might be over the phone. This might be an appointment. He thinks you're serious. He sounds motivated. I guarantee you, they come down that much in price, or if they knock that off their price that they had listed online, yeah, they're serious. Yeah, there's some motivation there. You could probably do something with it. In fact, you can do a lease option at 162. You don't need to do a lease option at 145. You could have done a lease option at 162. You're just gauging. You're just trying to see where he's at, okay? Because you're trying to look for that cash offer. You already know the cash offer doesn't work. Okay, so you just earned 17 grand off his price. That's fantastic. Now, let's move on to establishing interest. So I'm going to answer, yeah, 145,000 is too high. How can we get this deal done? Put it in the seller's court. Put the ball in the seller's court. Let the seller come up with their own answers, their own solutions. Seller says, I don't know. You're going to say, well, what will you do if you don't sell it? Super key question. That's a key question in wholesaling, in real estate, in setting up creative terms, and whatever you do, what are you going to do in business in general? If you don't accomplish your goal, right, in selling, what will you do? The seller says, just keep renting it out. They mostly say that. If you're talking to a landlord, oh, I'm just going to hold on to it. I'm just going to keep renting it out. If it's vacant, you're going to say, if they say, I'm just going to hold on to it, you're going to say, well, I can stop the bleeding because every month that it's vacant, you're not earning any income. Can I pay you something? You know, can I pinch my arm? Can I pay you? You know, you're begging the seller to pay or for you to pay him. All right. Seller says, or you say, may I rent it from you? Seller says, I guess. But why would you do that? And this is where it gets fun. You say, I work with many families who are not quite ready to be approved for bank financing, but they are currently working with our mortgage broker and credit repair partners. They would take better care of the property than any tenant you've had because they'll eventually own it. And they'll never call you. They will handle all repairs, $500 and over. And good news, they can be approved to pay $145,000 for the property. Okay. Now, it's not going to be exactly like this, all right? And you might use this exact script. That's fine. Seller says, okay, but what about, and now the seller is an investor, guys. The seller is an absentee owner. You think the seller's savvy? Most of the time, sellers are pretty savvy, especially if they're absentee owners. They're investors. They're going to start asking questions. Well, what does that mean? If someone starts asking questions, aren't they buying? They're buying. They're buying from you. If they keep asking questions, you keep shoveling coal into the fire, man. You're doing good. Okay, so now you're going to clear up doubts and concerns, and there's many. I've listed a few, but there's many doubts and concerns. For the sake of time, we only got a few on here. Seller says, well, how long will they rent and what will they pay? You say, well, we'd like to set up a 60-month lease. How much would you like a month? Now, many times the sellers, not many times, I should say a lot of times, not many times, but a lot of times, sellers don't even fight the 60-month thing. 60 months is 5 years, folks. That's a long lease option. That's a long lease period, okay? Many people out there are making the mistake by saying 2 years, 1 year, 3 years. You know, why start small? Start with 60 months. Remember, anything you take away, you get back. Okay, these levels are going to go up and down as you negotiate. So seller says, I want $1,200. Okay, market rent's $1,200. That's probably tip of the market. You're going to say, great, we can do that. That's not a problem. I'm ready to set up the lease. When can I meet you at the property? Now, if you're already at the property, you need to have a lease contract with you, a paper contract with you. And you can put contingencies all over that contract. Well, I want to see your credit. That's no problem. A rebuttal is, you know, I want to see your credit is, well, sir, I just want to let you know I'm not making money off you. My buyers are the ones working on their credit currently. I can provide all that information, but I do need to ensure that my interest is covered by getting a signed agreement with you. If we need to make it contingent, I can make it contingent upon seeing their credit. You understand that they're working towards a better credit, right? So I was going to say yes. Okay. Okay, great. We can do that. I'm ready to set up the lease. When can I meet you at the property? Seller says 4 p.m. You say, please be ready to sign a lease with me. Also, please be ready to sign a purchase contract for the amount you had requested. Now that might start some more questions. Seller may say, okay, let's talk about the property. If the seller starts asking questions, you need to tell them, let's talk about the property. Let's talk face to face. It's so important that you say that. Why? Because you can convert more when you build more trust. You can convert more leads when you build rapport. It's very difficult to close deals on the first or second phone call. You have to understand that this is going to take a pattern of trust building phone calls before this actually comes to fruition. Hear that? It's going to take some time, okay? It's also nice to have credentials ready. If you have a saved PDF expressing who you are with testimonials of who you are, including the phone number of your title agent, that's going to help. Okay, there's so many different ways that you can do this and build credibility. So you say, sounds great, let's go. Want to go over some common rebuttals all right, of this type of transaction. Okay, so one of the rebuttals is, but what about the tenants? I have tenants in the property right now. Now, most of the properties you contact may already be tenanted. You say, that's okay. We buy/lease homes with tenants all the time. We follow the Landlord-Tenant Act. Now, that's an act. I don't know if that's a U.S. act. That's an Arizona act. But we follow the laws, and we'll ensure that they are taken care of. Is it all right if I send you an agreement via DocuSign? Notice how I'm pushing for that signature. I'm pushing for that agreement. Because every time you push it, you're going to get more questions. So every time you push a next call to action, you need to get more questions and doubts clarified. Once you clarify all the doubts, you should have a deal. Here's another rebuttal. How will you lease my property if I already have a year-long lease in place? Great question. We will have to structure a seller finance agreement while we honor the lease your tenants have with you. Is it okay if I send you an agreement via DocuSign? So that's a strange rebuttal. How will you lease my property if I already have a tenant in there? That's no problem. We're just going to change the terms. This is going to be a seller finance transaction. The monetary amounts don't change. The price doesn't change. The amount we pay you doesn't change. Okay? Doesn't change at all. Just the type of transaction changes. Now, I know this whole presentation is lease options. We'll talk about seller finance another time. But for now, just know that if the seller says that, you just tell them, okay, we're going to structure a different type of deal. Here's a rebuttal. How much are you going to pay as a down payment or deposit? They always ask that. Well, what are you going to pay as you deposit? So we say, since it's a lease, we typically pay a normal lease deposit. Remember that we are paying more a month and improving the property along the way. I also say, and we also need to go take a look at the property now to see what it needs and upgrades and improvements before I lease it. So that might govern how much I pay as a deposit. Does that make sense, Mr. Seller? Yeah, it makes sense. Is it okay if I send you an agreement via DocuSign? It's so important to ask that question. You're going to find out all their fears, concerns, and doubts by asking that question. After seeing the home, Mr. Seller, we are ready to proceed to purchase your home. And instead of a rent to own, I would like to buy this home myself on the same terms. No amounts of monthly payments or price will change. The only change would be myself buying it. What email address may I send you an agreement? Now, this is called a switch. This is a big switcheroo right there at the property, okay? You see the home. Let's say you're with the seller and you say, hey, we're ready to proceed, but I don't want to do a lease. I'd actually do a purchase. A lot of things can happen. There could be good things, there could be bad things. Bad things could be, well, hey, you tricked me. Sometimes they feel this way. I don't know why, but you say you're going to lease it. You say, no worries, I can still lease it. I just wanted to propose a different outcome. Now, let's say the seller says, yes, I will take a seller finance transaction. That means you get to own the property, not the seller. It's not a lease agreement anymore, which is a completely different contract, which is a completely different transaction, and a completely different life training. All right. You guys probably have a ton of questions. And if you don't have a ton of questions, that's okay too. You can ask them later. We got any questions in the chat so far?
No, one person asked about is this being recorded and can they see it because they're getting off, the live was kicking them off. But I let them know that, yes, this is being recorded.
Excellent. This is being recorded, so you're going to be able to see this later. I'm going to upload it into the video section so that you can have all the data from this live stream. If I go on my phone to the Facebook page, it's going to kick me out, or maybe not. Let's see. I like the beard I put on the cover photo. Is awesome. Any questions? It's simple, huh? It's not hard. It's a pretty easy script, right?
So somebody asked, so how
Cool.
hard is it to do this in Texas? Good question.
Good question. We actually have our Texas team right now working on one. With the proper disclosures, and there's going to be a disclosure of total amount due to seller after rent credits that they need to see and sign off for. You're going to be just fine, but you have to use the proper title company to record a memorandum. We'll talk about that too.
Yeah, make sure you're searching for the right title companies. Mm-hmm. That's one question you want to ask. Is there a specific contract we have to use?
Yes, there is. I'm glad you asked. I will be including a copy of our contract. We don't call it a contract, it's a letter of intent. If you're sticking around for next week's training, you're going to see what the letter of intent looks like. Next week's training is going to cover Offer Wizard, where you'll have a letter of intent. Your own county, your own state probably has laws and ordinances that are set up to properly carry out a lease option. So I'm not going to send you our contract. I'll send you our letter of intent though. A lease contract is real simple. You just use a lease contract. So how I do it, first I send a letter of intent, which we'll talk about next week, guys. And this is really just a preparation for next week. Next week, we're talking about the letter of intent. It's so important to send them a letter of intent. Is it an official contract? No, it's not. It's here's my intent to purchase your property. Here's my intent to lease your property. From there, you can create a contract when you're on the same page. For us, you have to remember the contract is just a lease agreement. That's all it is. The lease agreement happens to be 60 months. Okay, you have the power to sublease, right? You can sublease the contract. You can find, Billy and Bobby that want to purchase your property or purchase the deal. You can actually sell them the lease. You sell them the actual lease agreement. I know it sounds wild, and you can wholesale the lease agreement. A really notable a really notable mentor in this space, one of my mentors, I consider one of my mentors is Joe McCall. He's fantastic. From a distance, I've been watching this guy for a while. I started to put to practice a lot of his systems and methods, and it works. It really does work. You're going to have a lease that you're going to be able to assign, and then your purchase contract you're going to be able to assign. Both need to say that they're assignable. Real quick, something I want you to know is when you set up a lease option, it's a lease agreement and a purchase agreement, right? So you got the lease agreement and the purchase agreement. Well, you do need a title company involved because the title company is going to allow you to file a document called a memorandum of option and also another document called affidavit of interest. The memorandum of option will prohibit the seller from selling the property from underneath you. So let's say you're leasing the property, he signed a lease agreement and option a purchase agreement, and then the seller suddenly just sells it to someone else. Well, it should cloud title. That's what a memorandum of option does. An affidavit of interest just basically denotes that you have interest in the property. And you're not a formal owner, but you have interest in the property. It's going to really help you or the new buyer qualify to purchase the property. You can add other items inside the affidavit of interest. It's going to be very helpful for your mortgage broker when you decide to get a loan on the property, or for your assigned interest to get a loan on the property. But those two documents do need to be recorded. I'm going to put together just a hit list of all the things you need in order to carry out a transaction inside the group. It's not going to be inside this video. It's going to be a post that talks about just the different items, the documents you need according to our state statutes. Now, that's why I want you to be clear. You have to consult a local real estate attorney and a CPA, actually just a local real estate attorney when it comes to CPA's taxes, when it comes to setting up documentation and protecting your interest in these types of deals. Also, legally doing it and legally binding your seller to adhere to a lease with option to purchase arrangement. So, any other questions? That's it. Cool. Guys, thanks for joining me. Really appreciate you. If you're new, you need to practice by making offers. How many people we got live still?
Oh, another question. In the prior slide, you were taking over a property with existing tenants. Are you stuck with them for the rest of their lease? What if it doesn't cash flow?
Okay, so the question is, if I'm stuck with taking over taking over property with tenants inside, yes, you always have to honor the tenant's lease. Have to. That's a must. There's no way around it. You must honor the tenant's lease always. That's in the state of Arizona. I don't know if it's different. Some ways that we get around it is we do cash for keys, where we buy them out of their lease. We do that through an official notarized document. Lawyer writes it up, and we can buy them out of a lease. Okay.
But hopefully they're month to month.
If they're month to month here in Arizona, at least, I don't know what it is in your state, but here in Arizona, we give them a 30-day notice. And after the 30-day notice, they should vacate. If not, they're trespassing. So yeah, there's a lot of ways you can set that up, but yeah, you got to honor the lease. If the tenants are in the house, you have to honor the lease. At least in Arizona, you do. Good call. Okay, if you're new, practice by making offers. Come visit us here next week for automatic offers via Offer Wizard. Join Wholesaling Houses Flip and Paper group on Facebook and ask questions, because we've been there. Okay, if you don't, and there's no dumb question. Really, this is probably the biggest piece of advice I can give you here. There's no dumb question. You should just be asking them in the group. Hey, what do I do if a seller wants to sell to me on a lease with option to purchase at full price? What paper do I need? What terms do I put together? How do I say this? We'll walk you through it. That's the point of the group, right? So it's very important. If you're a veteran, get a team to make offers for you. You can use Buy More Time. We have trained virtual assistant staff that can make offers for you. Come visit us next week for automatic offers, Offer Wizard, and join Wholesaling Houses Flip and Paper group on Facebook. Again, if you're a veteran, nothing really should change. You should just get a team behind you to make those offers. Okay, guys, thanks for coming. I greatly appreciate you. If you want help in mastering your offers and sending your offers, follow the 9-week plan. We have the first 3 weeks published in the units section. Okay. If you go to units inside the Facebook group, Wholesaling Houses Flip and Paper, and try to finish those units, you're going to be on the path of closing deals. Really, the magic is making offers and sticking with it. When you make offers, you learn if your offers are good or bad. You're going to improve your offers, right? You also have a better chance of actually closing a deal. And here you have a community of people that are doing 6-7 figure plus in the wholesale space and the real estate space. So you're going to be able to leverage their knowledge and expertise. That's the power of masterminding. Guys, thank you for coming. I want to say I really appreciate you. Really excited about next week's live training. We're going to talk about Offer Wizard, where you can make offers autonomously, extremely quickly, and you don't even need to know how to crunch numbers. It does the number crunching for you. It does everything for you. You literally just sit back and watch it while you submit property addresses. We do need property addresses though. So we'll do a live demo. We'll show you how it works. It's going to help you close more deals. It's going to help you be accurate. It's going to help you get in the door. It's going to help you also close wholesale deals, because there's an offer inside the Offer Wizard that allows for cash. So super excited to share that with you. And if you have any questions, again, ask them below, ask them inside the group. Feel free to PM me anytime. Much love, guys. And remember, get to flipping paper.